Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Venture Electronics SuperNova, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank my patrons and YouTube members for helping to fund the purchase of the Venture Electronics SuperNova. Do greatly appreciate it. Patron supporters and YouTube members, thank you very much. Okay, so the Venture Electronics SuperNova. This will set you back $50 from the bank account. It is available on Venture Electronics website and other websites that sell Venture Electronics products. 32 ohms of impedance, 103 decibels of sensitivity, frequency range of 16 Hz, 22 kilohertz, weighs 190 grams, 50 millimeter driver. Build quality is, it's all right for a $50 headphone, and definitely is light. You got a little bit of an angle for the way the cups fit on your head. Very small ear cups. I find that they do touch my ears, and I can feel the drivers on my ear. So very shallow, a little bit small. Fabric mesh is extremely comfortable though, so I don't have a whole lot of discomfort, but I do get a little bit because of the clamp force. This spring steel setup is very snug, and then the wannabe leather headband is okay. Put them on your head and it just snugs into place, and they're definitely not going anywhere. And as I said, because of the smaller ear cup size and of the shallower pad fit, I can wear these for about an hour and then they start to become uncomfortable. If you have a little bit smaller or average size ears, probably won't be a problem for you. But for me, because I have a little bit larger of a melon and a little bit larger ears, these tend to hurt just a little bit. You do get a couple of different cables. You get a coiled cable, which connects with a single 3.5 and then terminates to a 3.5. And you also do get a 1/4 inch adapter. And then you also get this non-coiled cable, which is orange, with your screw-on adapter and 3.5s. One thing of note, isolation of the cups. You can hear things tapping anywhere on the headphone itself, and then isolation of outside noises is very, very minimal. They do not isolate outside noises very well at all. There's a lot of bleeding with these, and so keep that in mind as well when you are using them as monitors. Speaking of using them as monitors, that is the intended purpose for that Venture Electronics created these for, was for monitoring. And they seem to be somewhat competent in that, but we'll get to that in a moment. Gear used to drive them to listen to music. These are fairly easy to drive. They do like a little bit of power. Not a ton of power, but just a little bit more than your standard dongle. But if you run them with a dongle that has a little bit more power than the average, they'll be just fine. Work great on DAPs and desktop setups. One thing to keep in mind, if you do happen to use a little too much gain, they will become very aggressive in their presentation in the mids and in the treble, and you will have a lot of sibilance and a lot of hotness in the treble, and they'll become harsh. Okay, so most sound impressions will be using them as monitors, and then I'll also touch on the music listening experience as well. Bass. The bass of the Venture Electronics SuperNova is very light on impact. It's got a soft presentation. Tone and timbre is okay. Detail retrieval and resolution is all right. As far as the bass note weight and just representation with good texture and overall thump and, you know, slam, all of that, it's lacking. It's not really there. You get the detail and you get the resolution, but you just don't get all the other part of it. And it sounds kind of thin. Mids. The mids of the SuperNova are interesting. So the lower end of the mids are very thin and they lack body. They lack note weight and density. And then as you move through the mids, getting into the main mids and going into the upper mids, they have a nice body to them, a nice presentation, and very nice tone and timbre. And overall, it's a very nice presentation, especially with vocals. Getting into the upper mids, they are elevated, and they are a little too elevated. And you get some sibilance and some harshness and some graininess in there. And overall, the mids are kind of a mixed bag. You go from thin to good to a little bit thin again and a little too elevated. And so some instruments that really go through the octaves and have a big range, pianos, brass, woodwinds, some acoustical instruments, they'll sound uneven and won't be as cohesive as they should be. And it can be off-putting on some instruments, especially pianos, guitars, and stringed instruments. Brass and woodwinds will sound a little too aggressive and a little too forward, and will have a little bit of a unnaturalness to them on the end of their notes, a little too wispy, a little too crispy at times. Overall, I don't mind the mids, but they are a little bit suspect. Treble. The treble is also on the lower end too elevated, and so you get some hotness to it and some aggression to it. And then the rest of it is well controlled and it has good extension to it. There's really good amount of air and space throughout, and it's really noticeable in the uppers. Overall, the tone and the timbre of the treble is okay, and detail retrieval and resolution is all right. So I find that the overall presentation of the SuperNova is a little hit or miss. There's a little bit of things that I like and some that I don't. And I find that they work well at times, and then others I'm kind of like, have to take note of that. Soundstage. The soundstage of the SuperNova is very wide, especially for a closed back, and especially for this price tag. They have good space to them. It can be a little bit too stretched at times, but overall I find that it has a very nice wide stage and does a good job of portraying an accurate size. At times it can get a little bit beyond. Depth and layering is very good on the SuperNova, and I find that they do a good job of keeping the stage within reason, and you can really place things accurately as to the setup of the stage. Imaging is good. You've got things going across the stage and you can follow them and you can place them. It's not exactly pinpoint, but it's like in this neighborhood here. But because of the depth and layering capabilities of it, you can say, okay, that was second row over on the right hand side or on the left hand side. So overall, I like the SuperNova. I found that it was fun for gaming actually, and did a good job there. I do wish I had a little bit more bass impact for the gaming experience. Music listening, just for an overall pleasantness, I found that they weren't very pleasing. And the reason being is because they're too mid and upper focused, and they have an aggression. And detail retrieval and resolution is kind of just okay. For the price point, they're good, but for just an overall presentation, I know I could do better. And it just kind of is lackluster in that regard. And then tone and timbre is off for me. And those instruments and just overall the tone and timbre was just kind of like, it's just kind of annoying when I was listening to music because it didn't really match up with the majority of songs I was listening to. There were a lot of click, click, click. Oh, I like the song. Click, click, click. Oh, I like this song. And so it was just kind of hit or miss for me in that regard. But for $50, if you're looking for a monitoring headphone, these are comparable. They will get you through what you need if you are on a very small budget and you're looking for a monitor. Do keep in mind the limitations of it and some of the flaws, especially in the tone and timbre and the peakiness of the mids and treble. How does it compare to the Rode NTH-100s? Now, I know the Rode NTH-100s are 3 times the price at $150. Rode NTH-100s are way more comfortable, way better built, and overall, even though they are heavier, I find that they're a lot more comfortable on the head, and they fit me proper with the ears. And just overall, I find that comfort-wise, significantly better. Sound-wise, also is superior. The NTH-100s have better tone and timbre, more accurate and more natural, have better note weight, and have a better overall presentation throughout as far as note weight, density, tone, timbre, and accuracy. The detail retrieval and resolution is significantly better on the Rode NTH-100s as well. And also the overall presentation as far as imaging, depth, and layering is better. The SuperNovas will be a little bit wider and will sound a little bit more spacious, but overall the accuracy of the stage is better on the NTH-100s. I do find that the bass is better, well controlled and thicker and more girth to it on the Rodes. Mids are more even and balanced and cohesive and have more naturalism to them. And then the treble is well controlled. You do lack just a little bit of that sparkle and energy that you'll get on the SuperNovas when listening to the Rodes. But as far as using them as monitoring, the Rode is a significant step up. But for the price tag of $50, if that is your budget and you like a sparkly, energetic type of sound, then the Ventro Electronics SuperNova should be something that you look at. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Then don't forget to check out the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel, all that kind of good stuff. If you're interested in becoming a YouTube member or Patreon supporter, please check out the links down below. And don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.